Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Week in Review, a video we put out every week here at the Dice Tower talking about the videos we put out the previous week. We put out a lot of videos, so think of this as an index where you can hear a short description of the videos, and then if you want to watch the full thing, click the links in the description below. Here we go.
Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and here's what I reviewed last week. So I reviewed with the rest of the guys Daimyo, which I rated the lowest at a 5.5. I found the game to be very forgettable, very mechanical. I found it had no distinct personality or something particularly striking about any of its parts. I reviewed Lucky Numbers, which I rate a 6 out of 10. This is a very Racco-like game, meaning arrange numbers in some pattern, try to do that first. It's very lucky, but it's in the title. And I think it's a bright, well-produced, high cardboard quality kind of game that is inexpensive and would make a pretty good gift for a youngster or perhaps a family that is not into gaming and they have kids. This would be a good one for that. I reviewed Keep, which is a card drafting game. I rate this a 7 out of 10. And it sort of feels a bit like Sushi Go, if you know that one. You know, you have a hand of cards, keep one, and then pass it along, with more things wrapped up around that. The cards, you can keep them face down for scoring at the end, or you can discard them now for an ability. There's an area in the center of the table, which everyone has access to. So it's neat, it's interesting, it's well put together. I think with too many players it's going to get a little unwieldy, but it's a solid 3-player, 2-player game, and it works well. Lastly, I reviewed Biblios, Quill, and Parchment, which I rate an 8 out of 10. And this is a roll and write style game, in which you are monks, transcribing books, going out into, sending your novice out into town to do good deeds, and praying at the chapel, things like that. This is based on Biblios, a card game, but this one manages to simulate this very interesting set collection and then bidding game that the original was, with entirely new mechanisms, and I find it to be very engaging. I thought it was well put together. I thought the scoring was tight, made the players make some interesting choices, and the whole thing I found captivating. It's also incredibly tight. It gives you this, satisfying gameplay in just 8 rounds, and each of those rounds is very compact. So there you go. And that's it for me, everybody. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey everyone, Chris here. This week I did a review of 2 different area majority games that have a setting in Japan, oddly enough. The first one is called Jinja. This one I gave a 6 out of 10 to. It's a worker placement game where the worker placement's very smooth, but the area majority part of it actually just felt a little bit tacked on. Overall, kind of neat, but I definitely have issues with several of the ways that the mechanisms tied together, but the game has some charm, so 6 out of 10. The other game that I reviewed was part of a 4 squares. It was Daimyo, Rise of a New Empire, and I liked this one. I liked it despite it also had some flaws, but it was also a more robust system. I liked the engine building. I liked getting buildings out there and being able to upgrade different action spots. It has a dice draft kind of as its core mechanism that does a few really clever things that I haven't seen in games before. So despite the fact that it does have some flaws, I liked its originality in some ways. So those are the 2 games that I reviewed this week.
Hello everybody, this is Graeme Anderson, and this week I looked at 7 Summits. This is a game about climbing mountains using dice drafting and push your luck. Unfortunately, the main idea of push your luck really diminishes as the game went on, especially in the ones I played, and you're left with a very basic dice drafting. It does add some skills and cards, but that really wasn't enough for me to enjoy the game. It might work well for other groups, but for me, it just didn't. I gave this one a 5.5 out of 10. And that's it for this week.
Hey there everybody, it's Mike Delisio, and this week I was part of a 4-square review for Daimyo. I gave Daimyo a 6.5 out of 10. I liked a lot of aspects of the game. I loved the theme. I thought there were some kind of clever, novel mechanisms, mostly based around card play. But overall, I felt like the game was kind of less than the sum of its parts. It didn't really stand out in a crowded genre, so I couldn't quite recommend it, although I liked a lot of things that it did. That's it for me this week. Let's keep it moving!
Alright, so for me, I reviewed Really, which is just a game like, if Bob was a flower, which flower would he be? He picks one, we all try to pick which one we think he chose. It's an interesting idea. I wouldn't even be opposed to it, but it's generic and there's too few cards in the game. The Fuzzies. This is a stacking game where you're taking fuzzies and putting them on top. It's a cute idea, but it's also not groundbreaking, and we've seen this kind of game many times before. Sock Monsters. This is a game for kids, almost a legacy-style game, but you're just moving monsters around the board, trying to find missing socks and avoid the monsters from stealing their socks back. Matching Adventure. This is a game in which it's a memory match, but with a little bit more added to it. So if you want to play memory match with your kid, but give them kind of some goals to achieve and some victory points, this adds it to it. Fun for kids. Kemet, Book of the Dead. This is an expansion for the new Kemet. It's good. I like it. I don't think it's necessary. I won't play with it all the time, but if you want a fifth color, green, that adds in putrefaction, a term not often used in board games, then you'll want this one. Sheepy Time. I don't like the name or the cover, but the game itself is fun. It's a push your luck style game in which you're moving a sheep around a circle as many times as you can. Has some clever mechanisms in it. Daimyo. All of us took a look at Daimyo. I like it. I think it's an interesting game. It's area control. There's a lot of, there's dice drafting. There's a few things that, it's not as smooth as I'd want it to be at certain points, but it has some neat ideas and it comes together for a fun game. Hadrian's Wall. I did not expect to like this as much as I did, and I'm definitely not as good at it as I think I could be, but it's a roll and write style game, or basically take little people and fill out these huge sheets. I'm terrible at it, but it gives me a bunch of little moments of joy, so I like playing it. Rule the Realm uses rubber bands as area control on a board. It seems like it's a gimmick, seems like it shouldn't work, but I found it to be actually very enjoyable. Destinies. I know we talked about this the previous week, but I still really enjoy this game. I reviewed it with my kids, who liked it not as much as I did, but they still asked to play it. And finally, Kemet. Kemet, this is the second edition. Kemet, one of my favorite games. I mean, this might as well be a 10, honestly. It's that close. In fact, I might change it to a 10 next week. But it is a great game. I also compared the second edition to the first edition, which I mostly like the second edition better. I did a top 10 list on that notion on games where earlier editions or first editions are better than the current version. Not many, but there's some. We did a live play of Sodalis, which is currently on Kickstarter, and there was a live play done of Return to Dark Tower with the actual production copy. If you missed it, a week ago, a little bit more than a week ago, I did a mega unboxing. A gamer in the community died, and to help his family out, we purchased from them this huge collection, and I just opened a ton of it. We're still going through it to this day. We did Shoots and Marbles, of course. If you never watched our marble races, give them a whirl. A boring unboxing, crowd surfing, look back, lots of stuff going on. So that's what we did this past week. Thanks so much for watching. Check out our other shows. We're doing something every day. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Week in Review on the Dice Tower.